Oh.
So we're back live. It's the House Appropriations Committee, Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, 10:45 a.m. And we're still talking about S 193. And we've asked Chair Emmons from Corrections and Institutions to talk a little bit about their part. We want to be sure that while this appears to make a lot of sense to have a plan, like it's the right order in which to do things, that the General Assembly, the Human Services doesn't go ahead and sign contracts or commit to spending money without, I don't know what the right phrase is. Without General Assembly.
Legislative input.
Right, or something like that. Wait, Nolan, do you have a?
So the pushback they'll say is that you don't want to hamstring their ability to do RFPs, you don't want to put the money in the budget because then they're gonna RFP that amount of money from the budget, so versus a competitive, there's a weird balance that happens.
Right,
So if you say we're gonna appropriate 4 million, then all the bidders are gonna come in 4 million, right? Like, so
Right.
that balance.
So I'm not suggesting but I think that we don't want them to go ahead with signing contracts without conversation with us first, and I'm not sure how to say that.
Could there be work, if you go to the very end, hey, I've got page 27, I don't know
Okay.
what you've got.
Yep.
There is a check-in that the agency has to do with the Joint Justice Oversight,
Mm-hmm.
and that is at our August and November meeting. I'm
Right.
just wondering if you could work language in that the Justice Oversight needs to make a recommendation to the legislature in terms of whether to go forward with this plan or not. I don't know. The other piece I'm kind of wondering is at the very beginning of section 7 on page 24, the feasibility plan for us has to be submitted to your committee, my committee, and for approval. We haven't stated for approval and before any dollars can be expended.
That's on what page?
That's on page 24, section 7A, on or before January 15th of 27. Agency of Human Services needs to submit their plan to your committee, my committee, and judiciary. And I'm just wondering if we could work language in there that no money shall be expended until approved by the General Assembly in 2027.
Okay.
I don't know. Those are two sections that I'm just wondering.
I see there's sort of some puddles going on. And I want to defer to our alleged counsel, but you're kind of getting the idea of what we're looking for, and what are you thinking about how we could go about this?
I'm thinking maybe adding a subsection in section 7 that says along the lines, no funds will be expended to advance the contents of the feasibility plan until the General Assembly has an opportunity to enact legislation next fiscal year.
Yeah, I think that's,
Could we tighten that up with maybe Joint Justice Oversight Committee making a recommendation?
so there would be two parts. So in the Joint Justice Oversight section, at those two meetings, we could add, and that they shall make a recommendation
Because
to the General Assembly.
Representative Squirrel is on that committee,
Mhm.
and I'm on that committee. Representative Wood is on that committee. And
I would bet Cheryl Lewis is on
who? And
Over here.
I didn't see. I'm like, there's one other person, and then on the Senate side, you've got our counterparts.
Right.
in the Senate, so it's all
You-
the committees who are involved.
That group could make a recommendation to the General Assembly, and then no action until whatever Katie said about the no action. So
That's what I'm kind of thinking.
that feels better to me, that we have some sort of. Okay, did you get those two parts?
Can I ask a quick question?
You may.
Is the concern that, and maybe no one would have some feedback on this too, is they just saying they might need money to conduct the feasibility plan, or is it more?
No, we've moved on from the conduct the feasibility plan. This is,
The
they've
content,
created a plan and now they want to sign a contract and they just do it, and then they come to us and say, by the way, we need $4 million.
okay, Just want to make sure that's what it was, and not that they were saying, hey, this feasibility plan is lengthy, you might need money for that.
Well, that's a separate issue they'll have to come back to us with. There's no money in here now.
So could they actually go ahead and do that before they promulgated rules in terms of how the facility is going to be?
What, do a feasibility plan?
No, to actually put in money and start entering a contract with an entity, because in section 5, we allow them to adopt rules to implement this section. And they can't start adopting rules until January 1st of 28. So would that kind of limit them in terms of entering into a contract to go forward? I don't know. I'm just putting that on the table. Please.
So there's no rulemaking required in this, and the idea was that the feasibility would come back in January, and it'd be another piece of legislation starting in January that would start filling in the blanks for some of the missing pieces, like rulemaking. So it's not that they can't start rulemaking until January 1/28, it's that you haven't decided what will require in rulemaking yet.
Right, that's why we held off, because as the bill came over from the Senate, they could start rulemaking immediately.
Right, so we
Pull that out.
taking care of that. Nolan,
Rulemaking, to me, is different. That's how you run the facility versus signing a contract. Build.
Right.
So that's.
right. I would agree. Kim?
I'm sorry, I'm confused about the money that we're talking about, because, I mean, nobody's gonna come forward, we wouldn't be ready to actually propose a facility and enter into a contract with a developer, before January, correct? I mean,
Nice.
We don't know. We don't know.
I thought that the money at issue here was just for this feasibility study.
So we're talking about two different things here.
Yeah.
Forget the money for the feasibility study right now. They'll come back to us if they need money for it. What we are talking about is long-term.
Right.
We have had situations where HS has entered into a contract first and talked to us second.
Right.
And so we're trying to avoid that we want to know about these things up front. I think that's where we're trying to head. And so we're talking about having, they're reporting twice to joint justice. And so joint justice can make a recommendation to the General Assembly by January or whenever. And then the second part was that what was the second part you said?
But there would be any spending to advance the feasibility prior to affirmative legislative action directly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that we're anticipating future stuff and not trying to play catch up at the other end. We're trying to do it at the front end. Lynn, and then Marty.
Does what we want to do is to put money for the feasibility or some parameters for feasibility study into this and then deal with the long-term needs in the
No.
next year?
No,
No.
it's the fear they're gonna go ahead and actually enter into a contract to either build a facility or contract with someone to operate it without legislative input. That's a concern, right? Yeah.
Feasibility study is different.
Yeah, that's totally different. They can do that in-house.
And Marty and then John.
Well, but my concern was Katie mentions no authority to advance the feasibility study. I would think maybe we don't want to use the word feasibility at that point.
Plan.
The final plan, yes.
Plan.
Well,
That's what it will be, they'll come back.
all it will be is a
Here's
feasibility study at that point. We'll have a study.
Right.
And it will, I imagine when they bring it back to you, they will say, here's your feasibility plan that you asked us to do. And that without you putting more money behind it or approving aspects of it or, adopting it and writing it into legislation, then that's sort of the end of the process and until the legislature moves forward.
Right. I mean, I think we need to receive a feasibility study and somebody needs to say, yes, that's a good idea. And yes, we want to do it. And then, yeah, we need $4 million. But
Is it really the establishment or implementation of the forensic facility itself that you don't want there to be any contract?
It may be signing a contract, it may be, it's stuff, once there's a plan, once they have developed a plan, we do not want further action on the plan
Until we.
until we get a recommendation from joint justice and the General Assembly enacts legislation to allow it to go forward.
So couldn't you say that in the introductory on section 7? Couldn't you tighten up the language as well? No, on A,
I'm
whenever,
gonna drop it down as a subsection C, so it's
Okay.
standalone.
Yeah, I think we'll let Ledge Council figure this out. And, okay, I have John, Wayne, Martin, and anybody else after that. That's what I've got so far,
Just
John.
kind of feel like the conversation is speeding away ahead here. To the point where the feasibility study may come back and say, this is a really good thing based on what we see elsewhere here, perhaps it might fit for Vermont here. And then, permission to move ahead, it's going to take some time to figure out what it will cost here beyond January. Here with a feasibility report
But
coming. to us.
That's, the feasibility study is supposed to go through all of that and include all the costs. We don't want them to go ahead and either
Right, I know. I
promise to
understand
spend
that.
money or spend money without legislative.
Exactly, that's kind of where I'm going here with this, because that will require quite a bit of debate
Yes,
here,
that's,
not just within.
that's right.
Here.
It's going to be a lot, and people who know this better than we do in appropriations
Yeah.
would have that conversation. That's our plan.
Yeah.
Okay, Wayne and then Martin.
I think we're really overthinking it a little bit. Why can't you just say the plan shall not move forward without legislative approval? Very simple, without putting in all kinds. I would hope that we wouldn't put so much in there that we stall or somehow kill
I
the
think we have
project.
2 sentences going in here. I don't think there's a lot going in here.
Should be simple.
I think it is. I think we're just talking about it a lot. And when Katie gives us a draft amendment, it'll be different, Martin.
So I don't see a place for doing justice oversight by recommendation because the plan doesn't come until January 15th, 2027.
but we could make a recommendation. I mean, they present to us in August and then November, our December meeting, we could make a recommendation.
That would be before the plan. So it doesn't come up to January 15th. So I don't know that we could have a rule. I mean, we are going to be monitoring their progress, but actually make a recommendation before we have a plan.
Right. Make a preliminary,
How about give feedback or something
yeah, we
like that
could give feedback. We could,
to the General Assembly?
give an update, something like that. General direction. Yeah, we can also meet, well, it's not due until the 1st of January is when the plan is due. It's the 1st of January.
January 15th.
January 1st, isn't it? January 15th. Part of the bill to report, I better get it right. Well, we could give a preliminary recommend. I mean, I would think that something would have to come from joint justice
Yeah, I think it would be
to
important.
the legislature.
Would you be comfortable with a preliminary recommendation?
I mean, I don't think we have to do the bill. If joint justice has enough information by December, we'll make a recommendation they can.
How will the body get the information from joint justice?
What we normally do is, we can send a letter to the respective committees and indicate what we heard in testimony and what our recommend would be, or preliminary
Okay.
recommend that they
So
will.
is that sort of your normal course of business? Okay, so if you promise to do that, we don't have to put that in the legislation.
We can do that. That's how we've done
Okay,
it.
so we're down to one piece, which is that, the second part, Katie.
And you,
Okay.
you got the language.
Okay, so Katie.
You offer, are you folks the ones that will be offering that amendment?
Yes, we have possession of the bill.
Yeah.
So we will offer the amendment as a committee. I'm looking around and the committee seems like they're okay with having a little bit of a, control over that. That seems to make a lot of sense. And so when Katie is done, we'll vote on the amendment and the bill is amended. We'll get it out.
When you get the amendment done, Katie, can you let me know so I can pass it by my committee to take a straw vote? Because that's our section of the bill that we worked on.
Yeah, well, it'll come. Do you want to do that after we vote it?
I can do it when I.
Yeah, we'll let you know when we voted it. You can do a straw poll. I think it's going to be a very short.
Yeah, same here, but my committee will have to wait.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we'll make sure you all get it.
So is the plan to do S-193 today on the floor or tomorrow? Okay, just so that.
It'll be on
helps.
tomorrow.
Okay, that helps my schedule a little bit.
Okay, but you can do a straw poll whenever. We'll let you know when we're done here and we'll give you that information. Okay. So we should probably go off live and let Katie